or challenges of the week. What did you face this week that was challenging to you?
Good morning, and welcome to Wednesday Wellness. We are here at Wednesday Wellness, and we're back. It has been very busy, and I'm so grateful to be back. I'm thankful to join you all, and I am so happy that today is the start of a new day. I'm happy about that. As you all know, it is Wednesday Wellness. Wednesday Wellness. We want to say thank you to all the podcasts that host us. And you can find our latest podcast wherever you like to listen to your podcast. We want to say thank you to iHeartRadio. We want to thank you for hosting us, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Thank you. And a host of others with a long list. Go find and follow us. We are vibetalkfacingthelionpodcast. Thank you for joining me. Validation. How many of you feel as if you are not validated? How many of you feel that way? Because we're going to be talking about validation and what it means to be validated. We've spoken about that many times, and we want to really get into that. We want to make sure that when we're validating ourselves, that we indeed can understand what validation means. What is the meaning of true validation? That's what we're going to be talking about on this Wednesday Wellness. Stay well and be well. That's what we're going to be asking you. And if you can't for any reason get onto our live, if you have a telephone, please join us. When we think of validation, the meaning of the validation is that you go beyond just simply listening, but you're listening with the intent to hear someone and understand why they feel the way they do. So now we're going to inwardly talk about that. When you listen with understanding, you have validated them. I hear, I understand are very positive words. Today's assignment is going to be an inward look at how you hear and how you understand. We start with ourselves first. You just hear them with no judgment. You just listen with no judgment. That's a hard task to do. That's a hard task to do. So we're going to talk about that. Sometimes we say things and what do? We start to judge. We start to even prejudge before any words are formed. How many of us have done that? So today we're going to help you help yourself. Get well, stay well, and be well. We want to thank, first of all, our viewers. Anybody that views us, we want to always acknowledge them. Can you use your phone to call in to my co-host? Please and thank you. Please and thank you. And as you are using that form of communication, if you have anyone to say thank you to, we would love to hear about that. And I want to say thank you to Brandon Warren, all the way from Ehrenberg, Arizona. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for your support of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. By the way, we are able to put in our information, if you would please, how to find us. If you're here for the first time, you can hashtag Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We don't necessarily have a schedule. We want you to find us wherever we are, because I want you guys to do the work of finding us. Do the work of finding us. This week has been incredibly busy, but we want you to know that we are here for you. We are here for you. So when we validate someone, we are listening and hearing them without judgment. Again, I say to you that it's not the easiest thing to do. We're going to go over some things, and if you're listening to us, we ask, please stay with us. Stay grounded with us. If you have questions or comments, this is a live conversation podcast. So join in the conversation. We are going to talk about what self-validation sounds like. When you hear and understand of yourself. You know, we work hard. Sometimes we put in a lot of work to understand others to the demise of ourselves. And I want all of my clients that are working with me to start validating yourself, even when no one does validate you. I want you to start to do that. Why? because you are important, you are validated, you are valuable. Please understand that. We're going to be right back. Self-validation can sound like, and if this resonates with you, if you get to this podcast and you are sounding like this, or you want to sound like this, get with me. By the way, today is Wednesday Wellness. Our art project is to understand.
Hello.
There you are. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome. Self-validation. We are working on ourselves today. How many of you have in the past or presently a hard time standing up for yourself?
I have.
You've had a hard time standing up for yourself. When was that? And tell us about that experience. Because I'm sure that there are audience members that resonate with you.
I've had that experience from when I was in school and I was bullied and I didn't stand up for myself. It made me feel like I didn't have a voice, that I was helpless.
Huh? Helpless. Did you guys hear that? Helpless and no voice. When we don't validate ourselves, our co-host just laid into keywords. We feel as if helpless, no voice. But I want you to know that today is your day to stand up for yourself. She also used the word bullied. How long ago was that, Trish? The bullying. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It was about, since the last time was like 2019, so 5 years ago.
Okay. So let's compare. 5 years ago into 2023, has it been any less bullying for anybody out there? From the looks of things, I would say there's been more bullying. And by the way, if you feel like you are being bullied, get with me. We are doing personal sessions. And if you want to know more about personal sessions, you can do it anywhere. All you need is a click of a button. And they are private, personal conversations. They are not recorded at any time like our live is. So if you'd like to get with me on a one-on-one or even a group session, because I want to talk about that too. Group sessions are good. If you want to help me to form a group session, we have that, and you want to be a part of that, let us know. Our direct connect, Vibe Talk Direct Connect is, and we'll have our co-host put that up, 661-503-8993. We also have a crises hotline for you. If you can put that up, the 3-digit number for that, because I think that's important. We're not talking enough about that because bullying is still going on in schools, at workplaces, and how do we stop it? Well, we've got to have a voice when it comes to that. We've got to stand up. 988, thank you. We want to keep pushing for you guys to call in, talk about, comment. Even when we're not here, the 661-503-8993 is a Vibe Talk line. And we will be able to give you full access. Standing up for yourself, having a voice for yourself is very important. Very important. How about this one? I did the best I could with what I knew at the time. How many of you have ever felt like that or need to get to a place of wellness to just do your best that you know how to do? If you haven't been doing your best and you are at present moment wanting to do the best that you can, or you're at that place of welling yourself, that's change. That's progress. That's progress. We want you to get well, stay well, and be well. We'll be right back. Right back. We're back. How many of you right now feel like you are doing your very best? Anybody?
I do.
You do. Okay. So, as you're doing your best, we want you to be able to tell us what your best is at this moment. And anybody else that's out there? Anybody else that's out there? What is your best currently at this moment?
I'd say my best at this moment is at least trying, putting effort into what I do, and knowing for myself that I gave it my all, and I'm just gonna let that be my best and not be so hard on myself like I usually am.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that so much. Doing our best. We're back. We are back. And I'm getting all this worked out. So stay with us. Doing our best. When we do our best, guys, doing your best involves your best and no one else's best. When my kids were growing up, I used to always tell them to do their best. Whatever their best is, whatever they're best at, do that. And I carry that on to my students and doing their best. Because sometimes we best ourselves at the expense of others. Has there been anyone like that does their best, someone else's best? In other words, instead of approving of your best, you're asking for their approval. And that's your ability to be able to be the best because they wanted you to be your best instead of yourself. Self-expectation comes along with self-validation, doing your best. If you're not doing your best, today is a day of wellness. Today is a day to be able to well yourself. And when you well yourself, you are able to get better. Wednesday is all about that change to make it better for yourself. When was the last time that you said, I'm proud of myself? We'll take that first part. Have you ever been proud of yourself? And if so, tell us. I've been proud of myself. I've been proud of myself because I'm in year 2 of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And even on the not so well days, I'm still proud of myself because if you don't hear us live, we are still working hard to challenge you, to challenge yourself. And it comes with great challenge to be able to challenge myself. When was the last time, Trish, that you said, I am proud?
Monday was the last time I said that because I went on a walk on Monday and on my Trish's Treasures, I was talking about consistency and I'm trying to be consistent in exercise. So I was proud of myself on Monday that I actually got started.
Yeah. I actually happened to see that video. Great job. Bravo for doing that. And don't forget, guys, you can even hashtag Trish's Treasures. And we want Trish to talk more about that because the wealth and the knowledge that she has in challenging herself has been amazing. And I'm proud because I got to do a lot of work with her and just to see that. So I'm very proud of that. So hashtag Trish's Treasure. It's part of Vibe Talk. We want to hear from you guys. If you get us and we are not live, go ahead and write your answers. These are good exercises for you. How many of you have had a difficult day? You get up and today is not the day that you want to have, but you get up and you show up anyways. And it's been tough just getting out of bed. See, that's the part that nobody knows about you. Even the person that may be sleeping next to you may not understand it. Why is this even an important thing for you to acknowledge, because if you don't acknowledge it, who do you think is going to say she's having or he's having a really difficult day? It sounds better coming from you. How many of you have acknowledged when you are having a difficult day? You just simply say, I'm having a difficult day. Have you ever said that, Trish?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And what was that like to hear yourself say that? Did you, first of all, did you acknowledge it?
I'd say I did, but when I said it to somebody else, I was like, today is not the day. Like, we've all been there. So today is not the day. I don't feel like that today. Like, I don't feel like myself today. You know, I've said that to somebody else, but I didn't say it to myself. But I knew it wasn't that day for me.
And what was their response to you?
They're like, what's wrong with you? Like, what happened? Like, you know, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, you know? And I was like, yeah, but I don't feel like myself today.
You know, it's funny that people use that terminology of waking up on the wrong side of the bed. And I oftentimes find myself wondering, okay, which side of the bed should I wake up on? Should I go back to bed and get on the other side of the bed and get out of it and restart? See, when we use that terminology, let's help ourselves to really look into what is wrong with us. Because when people say that to you, they're actually using a term that they're not even familiar with. When you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, try it. Ask somebody, what does that mean? What does that really mean? You'd be amazed at the answers. So, in essence, when the day is going to be difficult for you, does it mean the whole week has to be difficult for you? You know, because nobody chooses to have a difficult day. You know, you don't wake up and say, gee, I'd like to order up a difficult day. One order of a difficult day. No, nobody sounds like that. But when you're checking into your feelings, acknowledge it. Acknowledgement. Trish, can we have you look up acknowledgement? Because I think it really fits hand in glove with our self-validation of how we feel and checking in with ourselves. Validation. What is validation? Let's have a look at that. And while Trisha's looking that up, we're going to be right back. So validation. That's what we're talking about today. And we're looking up the word acknowledgement. You have it there?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Acknowledgement, it has two definitions, but okay. The first definition is acceptance of the truth or existence of something.
Okay. Let's restate that one more time.
Acceptance of the truth or existence of something.
Okay. Acceptance of the truth or existence of something. Acknowledging, which means that you're not in self-denial. Let's say hi to James Wallace. Good morning, James.
Good morning.
Good morning, James. Can you tell us where you're from, please and thank you. Just your state only. James is joining us. And as we join, we are talking about self-validation today. And our motto for today is get well, be well, and stay well. Get well, be well, and stay well. We are back, and we want to say thank you for joining us. Hard thing. What is a hard thing for you? And to the audience, what is a hard thing for you as well? We're going to talk about the hard things that we've had to do. The hard things that we've had to do in life. Hard thing for me is when someone hurts me, that I have to forgive them. And here's what I'm learning in order to make myself well and to be well. I have to learn that forgiveness is not for the other person. It's for me. It will benefit me because I want to be able to heal from the hurt, because I too have hurt in my life. I've hurt others in my lifetime. And so I need to work on forgiveness. That's a hard thing for me. And I'm working through that. Because no one really wants to be reminded of the hurt that has been caused. But think about the hurt that you have caused others. Let's be realistic. That's been a hard thing for me. Forgiveness. Trish, I turn it to you. What's been a hard thing for you and the audience? What's been a hard thing for you?
Something that is hard for me is letting go, because when I love people, I love very hard. And so, like, when things don't turn out to be what they seem to be, it's hard for me to let go of that person and let them go to their own direction, because it's like we have a history together. We've been through this together. Like, we can't just let it go like that. And I'm working on that. It's hard for me to do that, and it makes me I make myself like keep opening wounds that are trying to heal by not letting go of things and people.
And that's very poignant. You're being able to say letting go, because sometimes we just hold on to it. You know, we did the close-fisted thing, and we want to try it again today to remind ourselves of what holding on is like. I want you to take both of your fists and clench them as hard as you can. Ready? We'll be right back as I give you that assignment. We'll be right back. We are back. Before our break, we gave you an assignment, and that was to clench your fist as tight as you can. Now I want you to release it. How did that feel when you did that? If you've done that. Well, I felt some pain in my hand. How about you, Trish? Did you try it?
I did, and I got a cramp.
Yeah, that is what holding on to something feels like. It affects you. It has impact on you right away. That is into you let go of it. Let go of the pain that you've been carrying for years. Can you imagine walking around every day with your tight fist clenched? Can you imagine what that would be like for you? If you were to do that and never let go, you would create for yourself pain. 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 When you think about the word pain, you can create an art for yourself of what that looks like for you. What those words spell out for you. Pain. Problem. Anguish. Impossible. And never letting go. Pain. So when we think about the demonstration that we just did, I'd love for all of you who are listening this day, this Wednesday Wellness, to think about that. Because it can be a hard thing to do, just to let go. May our conversations carry you on into life of change. Life of change. Life of change. Transformation is always Wednesday Wellness. And catch us on our latest podcast. We take a while to post our latest podcast, but if you're really looking for us today, come right here to our very own Facebook page, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. And look for our Vibe Talk Reels as well. If Trish, if you wouldn't mind putting that in so our audience can see that. How about this? Saying no. You know, we all say, just say no. But how many of you struggle to just say no to something? A friend asks you something and you go, well, but you can't say no. But how about clear communication? If you really don't want to do the something that maybe a friend is asking you to do. If you've never had that experience, how about this one? Having the experience of saying no to yourself. A lot of clients that I have are or may have been coming out of recovery, and you found it hard to just say no to whatever it is that you are recovering from. We like to touch issues because we know that issues of such a nature are very sensitive, and we are sensitive for you. We are in no way a drug recovery, an alcohol recovery program, but we are real conversation. How about just saying no? Is that a hard thing to do? What do you guys think? Are you having a hard time just saying no to certain things? You know, I said no so much that my youngest bought me a Mickey Mouse t-shirt. As you guys know, I love Mickey Mouse. And on the t-shirt is the word nope. My youngest brought me that shirt. And I said, why'd you buy that? Even though I was thankful. And I knew what he was going to say. Because, Mom, you always say no. Just saying no could save your life. It could be that detrimental. Should you always say no? You be the judge of that. But in your lifetime, have you ever said no to something that you really don't want to do? I want to move into this with sensitivity, as I know that I have clients that may be recovering from addictions. I don't think people just really want to be addicted when you get to the root and the cause of the issues. And that's why Vibe Talk is here for you. You know, I don't think that people that we see standing on the corner, if we've ever saw a thing like that, you know, when I was younger, it was a lot of what we called alcoholics. They use the word wino, but the appropriate word is alcoholic. In the same way, same shape, every day. And some of the alcoholics we knew by name. Let's go there. If you've got these types of situations in your home, and you have said to those people, why don't you just stop doing that? Just stop. As much as they want to stop, some of those very people return to their habitual addictions. Let's be sensitive. Even if you don't have that problem, you may know someone who has that problem. Know that they're just saying no is a work of art. See, they're just saying no means that they have to now self-validate what is going on within them. Not only do they have to take a self-check and looking inside of themselves, but they have to do it raw and real. Understand the purpose of Vibe Talk. And as they start to do this for the first time in their lives, they began without the addictions to face their problems head on. And for those of you who are coming, and we know that you will, it's going to be pain. It's going to hurt. Who wants pain and who wants to hurt? If I were to take a survey of everybody that wanted pain and everybody that wanted to hurt, the odds of that would be very low. But there are people out there who are in real pain, emotional, mental, some are even in spiritual pain, and don't even recognize it. But when you start to deal with that, it is like having surgery with none of the anesthetics, with none of the aftercare medicine that you will need because of this extensive surgery to fix something. It's like going through it without being medicated. And we want to be sensitive to the needs of those recovering addictions. And that's why I always say self-validation. You know, a lot of times those programs, what will happen in the recovery programs is that you'll come to their meetings, and that's fine. We're not saying don't. Whatever is helping you, we want you to do, as long as it's going to be making you well. They will go into these programs, and every day they have to admit to themselves that they are whatever addictions they have. And it sounds like this. Hi, I'm so and so, and I'm a whatever their addiction is. We'll be right back. Stay with us. So, we are back. Thank you for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lions podcast. Self-recovery is the best recovery. And how do I mean that? Getting help on your own? No. What I'm saying is to acknowledge, hey, I need help. Again, I remind you to be sensitive because these are the people that are hurting just like you and just like me. And we say, why do you keep doing that? You know, a lot of us may not be alcoholics. A lot of us may not be drug users. But if you've come from a line of family members that are alcoholics, that have used drugs, you now have the experience and the environment from being affected. You know, they call it the alcohol behavior. You know, let's say two parents are alcoholics. You grow up, if you're not getting the help, if you're not being able to say no or see your parents get help, well, that's going to leave for you growing up in that type of environment. And what happened to you, very possibly you're going to be affected by those things. Notice that I didn't say you're going to become an alcoholic, because I don't believe in that. What I do believe is change and transformation from that alcoholic behavior, even though you have never touched alcohol. From that drug behavior, even though you've never touched a drug. Because you've lived in the environment, you pick up what has been left for you. So what's my point? That it's not easy to say no. But your self-recovery is going to be painful, but then you're going to really like the new you. And we always, here at Vibe Talk, even when I talk to people off camera, listen to understand them. Because every person that is in that addiction, every person has gotten there for a reason. You know, back in the day, even from the time of 70s TV, you know, it was made light of. You know, you had on Sanford and Son, Willie the Wino, and Ned the Wino, and everybody ha-ha and hee-heed about that. But I assure you that there is no laughing matter. Because today we have young people that have gotten into more dangerous addictions. I was just talking last night about how many young people are now dead due to fentanyl and other drugs. It's a serious matter, and they're dying young. Let's think about this. And that's why we urge you, if you have been in the alcohol behavior, in the drug behavior, in the addiction behavior, because it's not just drugs and alcohol that you become addicted to. People are addicted to a lot of things that are unhealthy. Reach out to help someone. It's important. Let's talk about that. Moving on. How many of you work so hard that you need to prioritize between work and rest? You ever have that experience, Trish?
Yes, I have.
And what was that like for you?
It's like I know I need rest, but I'm trying to force my body to do something to pass its limit to like keep on going and keep on going. And I need a chance to like regenerate, to recharge by going to sleep. I had too many experiences with that.
So where are you with that right now?
I'm working on it. I'm trying to, I wake up early so I can, do what I want to do, and then I try to take a nap around like 2:30 when I'm tired. I'm trying to, balance my work versus my rest.
Love that. And see how honest we are, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we think that overworking, yes, you're going to be able to pay your bills, or you're questioning yourself. If I don't work like this, who's going to pay my bills? So we're not encouraging you not to work. In fact, I've worked so hard in the last few days that I haven't had time. Today is that day to rest. Why? Because I'm acknowledging something about myself. I'm tired. Trish, you spoke about regenerating, refueling. We must refuel ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. What gets me is when people look at you and they know you're tired, but you don't know you're tired. How many people have you ever said that to without counting? You look tired. Have you ever said that, Trish?
Yep. Told my mom that 2 days ago.
Yeah, you look tired. I tell my sister, my friends, you look tired. But we need to self-validate. Remember what we learned about self-validation? We learned that self-validation is to listen with understanding, because sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we are very hard on ourselves. Nobody has to be more than us. And sometimes we refuse to take that rest. We must realize. We must say words that sound like wellness. Like, I'm tired. I need rest. How many of you have ever been upset before anybody? We're going to be right back. Help me help you answer that. We are back, and this is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Ever been upset? How many of you have ever been upset? See, we're asking questions that nobody asks. This is your time to be able to say, I am upset, and this is why I'm upset. Because sometimes we do a dance, and that's called I'll say this and you say this. What I want you to be able to say is why, when, how you're upset. Because the more that you do that, the more that you welcome your wellness. Ever been upset, folks? Oh, I've been upset a lot of times. Sometimes so upset that I can't even talk about it until I have calmed down. And I realize that it's much healthier for me to calm down. How about yourself, Trish, in the audience? Go ahead and answer those questions, even in the comments below. Trish, what about you? You ever been upset?
Yes, I have. I've been upset, and it's hard for me to admit that I'm upset, but like it's very visible that I'm upset because of, you know, my body language and how I respond to certain things. Like when I'm upset, it's like everything that someone says, it feels like a bullet and they're trying to attack me. So my response is always on level 10. Yeah. So yeah, I've been upset before a lot of times.
Yeah. I used to be upset, and my nephew would call my sister and say, Mom, can you tell Auntie to not be on level 10? That's the kind of upset I'm talking about. And there is one thing you don't want to do. Don't upset me. Don't provoke me. Because I promise you, it will be nothing like my voice is right now. So I'm working on that, and I have worked on that, and I am proud of that. But there are very valid reasons to be upset. Let's talk about them. Because sometimes, you know, even in homes where we have our young people living with us, we generally know that they're upset. But we dance around the table. If you see that with your young people, parents, guardians, pull them aside and help validate them to talk about their feelings. You look upset. Are you upset? Let's talk about it. Find the time, make the time to talk about it, because see what will happen if you don't do that? You're going to raise up young people that grow up, get older, and don't know what to do with their upsets. I liking it like this, and I've said this before, and you'll hear me be repetitive, but it's a learning moment. Let's think about some upset moments. There was once a man that was so upset because of a road rage, he killed a mother and a daughter, all because he couldn't go fast enough. He got out of his car to approach them. Road rage. You feel upset because you can't get to the red light first? How many of you had that happen, where a person has cut you off, but here you are at the red light? You see, being upset. How many children or how many people woke up and they were so upset about something that they went out and they did a gun shooting of some kind or another? Those were upset people. Is it fair? No. Life is not fair, but self-validation to find out. You know, the bullying thing, we go back into that because schools are now being faced with gunning down innocent people, gunning down wherever you go. Now, this is a podcast about positivity, but it's also a positive when you realize, when you are aware. We ask that you stay aware. Feeling upset, the first thing to do is to admit that you were upset. Because a lot of people say, I was upset because she or he made me. No one can make you upset. You are in control of yourself, your mind, and your body. Your emotions, you're in control of them. And you're also free to acknowledge that you have them, and that you can acknowledge and sense when you are upset. Please get out of that space of someone making you upset, because it does impact others. Yourself first. Let's do this for our young mind, our young people. The best way to talk about feeling upset is to address it. If you feel upset, why are you in that space? Because those are normal feelings. We're talking about feelings and emotions and experience. You feel upset? You have nobody to talk to? Stand in that mirror and tell yourself, I'm upset. I'm upset because, I was triggered by something that someone said. You see how you're not doing the he made me upset? You can say I was triggered. That triggers me. I have done the work that I'm asking you to do, and I will continue to work on myself. The way I would have responded for something that made me really upset would have put me in the spot to cling on with tight fist and not let it go. So how do I deal with the feeling upset? First, I need to recognize I need to calm down. Because I'm so upset right now, I'm going to say the wrong thing. Oh boy, how many times have I said that? It's the admission to yourself. People are always taking the Fifth Amendment. I hear people do that. And the reason they say, I plead the Fifth, because they don't want to talk about it. Those are the things you need to talk about. Feeling upset with your significant other, feeling upset at your children feeling upset. Find out. Those people, oh yeah, those people who are living in your house, find out why they are upset. And that's what we want you to do, and that's why we're forming a group to be here with us, live and in person. If you think that you'd like to do that, just click on when we come on. We want to be able to talk to people, to help them check in so that they don't check out permanently. How many times have you misunderstood someone? Trish, you ever misunderstood someone?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and how did that turn out?
It turned into an argument because I thought one thing and the other person meant the other.
Misunderstanding. And you summed that up nicely. Did you hear what she said? A misunderstanding. When you think something that someone has said or done, or you've said something that someone didn't understand or done something. So what do we do about feeling misunderstood? What would you say, Trish, when you're feeling misunderstood?
I'd say me personally, I try to explain it on a level where they understand, or if it's another person, I ask them, what do you mean by that? Like, can you explain it in another way?
I love that. That's actually a very good point, because when we misunderstand something, we need clarity on what is being said or what is being done. We need that clarification. Thank you for that. Wrong impression or idea. People are misunderstood. And I know a lot of times, a lot of people fear being misunderstood because you say, oh, that's not what I meant. See, we today, we do something that we misunderstand the word misunderstood. Because you know what people find easy? And this is one of my pet peeves. When someone does something, they say, oh, it's just a misunderstanding. Stop saying that. Get clarification on what exactly was meant. What is exactly was the intent. Stop using it because, many people feel misunderstood. Here are some examples. Don't misunderstand me. Why do people start that before they're going to say something? Because if you've got to say that, then obviously you've made yourself a victim and you've stamped your head with, I'm the person that people misunderstand. You've tattooed that across your forehead. Here I am, the person that everybody misunderstands. See, you don't want to do that. That's wrong self-validation. I'm the person that's always misunderstood, you might say. But we want you to understand clarification of the matter. If it was taken wrong, then you need to validate yourself and say, I apologize, I've stated that incorrectly, or I've said or done something incorrectly. See, we have a hard time because we think if we say that it was a misunderstanding, or if we claim whatever it was, that we've now failed. See, it makes you a better person to wellness when you accept and clarify misunderstandings. See, let's not use that word so frequently. We use it a lot. And so we want to be understood, right? Sometimes we say things and people say, that was a misunderstanding. Be clear about the words that you express. Is it easy? No. But get yourself to wellness, transformation. I was misunderstood once, twice, 10 times, a lot of times. But now I'm at the place of understanding myself. Because sometimes we misunderstand others and we misunderstand our own selves. We'll be right back. So with that misunderstanding and the self-validation, stand up, rise up, look in, check in yourself, because sometimes we misunderstand our own selves. Be clear about what you want to say. Conversations. Talked about that last night at a spiritual meeting that I was at. How easy or how difficult has it or is it for you to start a conversation? How easy or hard is it for you, Trish?
It's easy when I know that it's going to turn out to be nice, calm, peaceful conversation. But if I feel like it can start like an argument or something, I don't start the conversation. I wait on the other person to start it, so.
Yeah. For me, I don't have a hard time with conversation, but I don't necessarily want to have a conversation where I need to speak with someone about something that is affecting me and their relationship. That's difficult for me, and I'll tell you why. Because first of all, you don't want people to misunderstand, but I'm not the one to say don't misunderstand me. I go past that. I go beyond that, because I know that I make myself clear, so I don't have to use those words. But I also think of you in view of understanding and listening. Understanding and listening. Understanding the person. It was more so of understanding the person before I've had the needed conversation, and being a listener and not jumping, because I also will jump to conclusion. Now, that's the truth about me. But now, when I think about welling myself, it's, is this conversation even going to be beneficial for me? Is it going to well me? Because sometimes we can have conversations with people that no one has ever had with them. I've had that happen. Wow, no one's ever talked to me. And I'll tell you something. The reason why no one has ever talked to you about it could be situations of fear, rocking the boat, ending the relationship. But if I care enough about you, we will have conversations that are needed that nobody has ever had. Same goes for me. If you are having conversations that are really needed and you say to yourself, I'm so glad we've had this conversation, and it wells you, you're off to a great start. But now, if you're having conversations that need to be had, and it wells you and the other party, well, you're off to an even better start. And that was tough, but you did it. And when people come to you and have conversations that need to be had, don't be shocked. Don't go into heart failure. Don't have a heart attack. Don't have a stroke. But listen with intent to understand them. Because no one likes those conversations. No one has ever walked away and said, wow, I really needed that. Unless you are self-validating yourself. Because nobody likes to be reprimanded. Nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody wants to be told, hey, this is difficult, but when you you have conversations, don't do the blame game. We've done that in role play before, where you have a conversation. You remember that time, Trish, where we did the burnt hamburger thing?
Yes, I remember.
Those are conversations that needed to be had. Because if you're volunteering to cook and you burn up the food, then I need to tell you about my food that you just burned up. It is as simple as that. But we don't, we find out, why did you let the hamburger burn? Well, we let the hamburger burn because I wasn't paying attention. It isn't because you didn't tell me to take it off the barbecue. We're referring to a role play that we did in our Vibe Talk. But for those conversations, listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Have those conversations because they validate you and they validate other people. How many times have we said we've had this conversation before? Have you ever said that in your lifetime?
A lot.
Yeah. Why do you suppose that we're having the same conversation months later? Take a wild guess, even in the audience, when you guys hear the program. Why? We'll be right back. Stay with us. Thank you for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We're talking about self-validation, and we're talking about that part of difficult conversations that are needed. And I asked the question, when someone says, we've had this conversation before, why do you think we're having it months later again?
I think because it wasn't resolved the first time, or it wasn't, we didn't get anywhere the first time we had this conversation. So we're having it again because it's like it repeated itself. We put ourselves in this cycle.
I love the terminology that you're on fire. Thank you. I love this conversation because that part, cycle. You've cycled the conversation and you need to recycle when it comes to a repeated thing. If you know anything about recycling is to improve the earth. But when we recycle in a conversation, we're finding ways to change it, to make it better, to improve. And true to what Trish said, I'll agree 100%, is the repetition of the conversation is because it went nowhere. Nobody's willing to work. And so when you recycle the conversation and you're having the conversation again, look for the improvement. Don't do the blame game. Conversations with your kids, with people in general, especially people that you know and are close with. Moving on. Everyone wants to be liked. Anybody that tells you they don't care if they're liked or not, listen to why. Ask them, why do they not care? Don't say, well, that's a lie. But everyone will not like us. Do you like everyone? Trish, do you like everyone?
No.
Okay. See, when we admit that, I'll be the first to say I don't like everyone. I'll be the first. But then I have to remember, everyone may not like me. You've heard of the saying, you are not that person's cup of tea. They may not be, you may not be theirs, and they might not be mine. That's life, honey. It's okay. That doesn't validate a person. Because you know what? I'm on the end of the spectrum, and I don't mind if I am not your cup of tea. If I'm not your morning tea, and you're not coming to Vibe Talk, it's okay. Because sometimes we wear a tattoo that says, I want to be liked by everyone. Do you guys know any people like that? Can you hear me?
I can't. I just had to pause because I was asking myself, am I like that? Because I do want to be liked by everyone, so.
It's okay to admit that. You've admitted it. It's not wrong because you know something about yourself. You've admitted that. That was the hard part because you thought about it. And that's what we want you guys to do, is to think about these questions. You're not a failure, but how do you make yourself well? Understanding, and what was the other thing? And listening with intent to hear. Because there's a reason you feel that way. I have someone that is very close to me that is that way. But by your being that way, is life well for you or unwell? You be the judge of that question. That question. I just know that everyone is not going to like a person for whatever reason. And sometimes the world would be much easier if people just said why they didn't like someone. But you don't have to. And for those who don't like everyone, because I'm total opposite, I don't like everyone. Because I'm an energy filler. The moment a person starts talking to me, I feel their energy. And I want to tell you something. Not that I'm some heroic person, but when I feel my energy, it never lies. It's okay not to be liked by everyone, because I don't like everyone. And for all you naysayers that say, oh, I love everybody, let that one person cross you and see if you still feel the same. We are getting raw and real with you this day. So now we're at Wednesday Wellness. This day on Wednesday Wellness, how do you get well, stay well, and be well? It's work. It's work. See, we don't give you every answer to every question that we ask because we want you to be motivated and inspired to do the work. Oh yeah, it's tough. But so is the caterpillar that turns into the beautiful butterfly. We'd like for you today to recognize that you have wings, butterfly wings. Fly them high. Validate yourself this day, Wednesday Wellness. This is your day to get well, be well, and stay well. We'll be right back with Trisha's Treasures. Stay tuned. We are back, and now it's time for Trisha's Treasures. Trish, I turn it over to you.
So, y'all know that movie, Princess and the Frog, it's a good movie. I love that movie, And something interesting I thought about, during this podcast, it has a lot to do with that movie because, Tiana, she spent her life working hard, trying to make her dream come true, her business. And Prince Naveen, he was used to people giving him everything he wanted, because he's a prince. Everybody doing everything for him. And it's so relatable to life right now because speaking of validation, there are people that are used to hearing, you're amazing, you're great from other people. And there's the other people that know I did my best. I tried hard, I worked hard, I deserve this, And there comes a time in life that you have to learn, are you really great, Are these things that people are saying about you true? Or do you just like them giving you amazing, thoughtful thoughts, And there's nothing wrong with that, to hear someone say, congratulations, because, it's hard for me to take a compliment, and there's nothing wrong with people complimenting you, but the compliment doesn't really mean much if you don't believe it yourself. It isn't. It's like someone says, oh, I love that song you made. It was amazing. And you're like, oh, thanks. It's like a questionable, wasn't really that great, because I didn't think it was that great, but they think it's great. And I've been through that before. And to validate yourself, there's nothing wrong with that, to affirmate yourself in positive affirmations about yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's believing and actually knowing. That's when the validation starts, because when you believe it and you know it's true, it makes it valid. It makes it real, important, and it motivates you. And it makes you well, because self-validation makes you keep on going. It helps you keep trying because you did it before, and you're like, okay, I know what I'm capable of. I know I can do this, And it's you saying it versus, you having a support system, you being your own support system. So learn how to validate yourself and know that you are the best that you can be. And if you know that you're not at your best, strive to be at the best that you can be.
Very powerful. Trisha's Treasure, go check it out. It is affiliated with Vibe Talk. Thank you so much, Trish. We're so glad that we gave you those moments. Are you done? Because I don't want to cut in like I just did. I apologize.
Well, I saw this list of validation affirmations, and I want to read the 5 that stuck out to me, the ones that are hard to admit for me. And like Vibe Talk is all about, admitting things to yourself, being honest, it's real raw. It's not, child's play. So the first one that stuck out to me is it's normal to feel this way, meaning any emotions that I feel, like it's normal. Like if I'm sad, it's okay. If I'm angry, it's okay. It's how I react to it, you know. I'm in control of my own emotions. And the other one is I'm proud of myself. You know, that's hard for me to say a lot, you know. Like, good job, you did that. You know, it's hard for me to say that to myself, but it's very motivational when I say it because I'm like, you know what? What's next? You know? And the last one is I gave it my best effort. You know, that's for all the hard workers out there, like me, you know, the ones that work extremely hard, you know, and when we make a mistake, we have to learn to say, you know, I gave it my best effort. I tried, and that's what counts, you know. So learn how to validate, motivate, and positively affirmate yourself and continue on to be the best that you can be.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Hashtag Trish's Treasures. We thank you as co-host. We've come to the end of our Vibe Talk Facing the Lions podcast for this Wednesday. We want you to know if we are not here and you really need to reach out. We have Vibe Talk Facing the Lion Direct Connect 661-503-8993. And if you're really in a crisis and you just can't wait, we want you to know that the crisis hotline and suicide prevention, even if you don't feel suicidal, but it is a crisis, 988. We thank you guys so much for joining us. Our last and final question of the day. Our last and final question of the day is, what did you learn and discover about yourself for this podcast today? And how did it make you feel? We will be right back. Trish, will start with you with that question. What did you learn and discover about yourself in this podcast today? And how did it make you feel?
Something that I've learned here is that I cannot be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. And you know, just because I try to love and like everyone, you know, try to show them, you know, care, doesn't mean that they have to give it back to me. Everyone's not going to give that same energy back to me. And that's a reality check for me because, you know, I'm a lover, you know, it's okay. And my experience here today was a reality check. That's what my experience here today. You know, I'm thinking and still reflecting on, you know, and also working on if validation from others still affects me and if it helps me to learn to validate myself and things like that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Trish. And I'll ask myself that question. What did I learn from this podcast today? And how did I feel? I like the admission of myself that a hard thing for me is to forgive when someone has really hurt me, because it takes a long time for me to bounce back from the pain. But in saying that, I'm understanding of others when they feel hurt, to have compassion. Not that I don't, but to have that compassion and have empathy for them and sympathy, so that the more that I understand myself, the more that I can understand others. And I like that part, that I'm able to admit that about myself. Whereas I would not have ever talked to that person ever again, I can now, instead of when you come together and they say, well, give me a hug, I can shake their hand. I've come a long way, and guess what? I'm proud of myself. And I feel good about that, because I know for a fact that to work on myself is change. See the change. Believe that you can change. Everything is possible. Anything is possible. I want to thank my amazing co-host Trish. Thank you for two things: for keeping up with Vibe Talk. We want you to do more of the Trish's Treasures. I like that, and I did watch it. Thank you for that. Thank you for your patience with me when things get busy and I can't really get on live. The other day we started, and I want to talk about that in today's meeting. So we'll have a meeting right after this. And yes, we do have meetings, guys. But I want to talk about some things I want to try out. We started out with trying a live that we would actually get out with the people. And I started to do that the other day, and off I ran. And I really would like to do that, because that way you get firsthand of people, because there are people really watching this podcast. We want to thank all of you who have been here today. Even if you came on to see what we were all about, we're all about real rawness. Remember your project for today. Please work on them. We need artwork. Please, 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 so that we can show them. Let's get stronger. And if you have any questions, or you want to do a one-on-one session, put your name in the messenger box and let me know, and I will get back to you. Look for us on our lives, because they're going to start coming up where we're out in public on location with the people, just randomly talking to people. Because if you start talking to people, what you guys are going to find out is that people do want to talk. And I think Vibe Talk is the best platform to be able to help people say what they want to say. And we don't even have to show their face. We just want to. And I'm talking to people all day long in my ministry. I'm talking to people while I'm doing other work. People are surrounded. So why not make this a platform where you can actually be on location with me? We're going to try it. I want to thank all of you. You have been amazing. When you come into this program, if you have any kind of questions, please, our direct connect is 661-503-8993. Thank you for facing the lions with us, and we bid you a farewell until we see you again. And we thank you for facing your lions with us today. We wish you well, wellness, to get well, stay well, and be well. See you soon.
going to be facing our challenges of the week. What did you face this week that was challenging